Okay, so the question is how a decision is made, whether to go for lytic pathway or lysogenic pathway. All right, this is the question. So a decision is made. A decision is not made immediately after infection. After infection, immediately after infection, a decision is not made. Okay, so bacteriophage lambda will infect the bacterium, the susceptible bacterium. It will insert the DNA. Okay, and immediately a decision is not made whether to go for lytic pathway or lysogenic pathway. Okay, it takes some time. It takes some time to arrive at a decision. There is a lag phase. So some time goes in between before a bacteriophage comes to a final decision. It arrives at a final decision. Until that time, the sequence of events are common for both the options. Sequence of events are common for both the options. And what is the sequence of events? So this is the bacteriophage DNA. I have drawn only the central control region. Okay. So you have this CL gene, you have the promoter PM, you have the promoter PR on the right hand side, and within the promoter you have an operator. And then you have another promoter PRE, right side and establishment. And there is a promoter on the left hand side PLOL, right? And please remember that these are the orientations. So RNA polymerase will bind here and will transcribe in this direction. RNA polymerase will bind here and transcribe in this direction. RNA polymerase will bind here and transcribe in this direction. And RNA polymerase will bind here and transcribe in this direction. All right. So what is the sequence of events immediately after it has infected the bacterium? The sequence is like this. Please understand carefully. And if you want, you can write down. I will speak slowly. Okay. So what happens immediately after infection? The host RNA polymerase will bind to these promoters. Host RNA polymerase will bind to these promoters. The promoter on the right hand side and the promoter on the left hand side. This is the sequence of events I am talking about. Why it is so? The reason is very simple, that these are the strong promoters. What is meant by strong promoter? It means that they have those regular consensus sequences. RNA polymerase finds it easy to identify these promoters. So the first thing after infection and insertion of the DNA into the bacterial cell is the binding of RNA polymerase, host RNA polymerase to these promoters, and this is going to be transcribed, this is going to be transcribed. Okay, this is going to be transcribed, this is going to be transcribed. Please remember these two proteins, C2 and C3, these are positive regulator proteins. So these proteins are required for RNA polymerase to identify this promoter. So if at all it decides to go for lysogeny, so then this promoter must be identified. Okay, and for identification of this promoter, what is required? You require these two proteins. Okay. Moreover, since in lysogeny, the phage DNA integrates with the host DNA by site-specific recombination. So there are recombination genes on this side. Those also needs to be expressed. Even if it has to go for lysogeny, so those recombination genes, 7 of them here on this side, they need to be expressed. So they will also be expressed, and then this promoter will be identified and RNA polymerase will move in this direction. A question definitely comes in mind as to one RNA polymerase is traveling in this direction and the other RNA polymerase is traveling in this direction, opposite direction on the same DNA. How is it possible? And the answer is, we really right now don't know how exactly it happens, but it happens. Okay, please understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about one RNA polymerase will be traveling in this direction, binding to promoter RE, and the other RNA polymerase, the original one, the first one, will be binding to PR and will be traveling in this direction. So one is traveling in this direction and the other one is traveling in this direction. So there is an overlapping. How is it possible? And the answer is, we really right now do not know exactly how does it happen, but it is happening. All right. So one thing is this, for maintenance circuit also, this promoter is there adjacent, but this promoter is also not identified because Again, the same thing. This promoter and this promoter, these are weak promoters. And you understand what is meant by weak promoters. Means they don't have those regular consensus sequences. RNA polymerase by itself finds it difficult to identify this promoter. So for identifying this promoter, what RNA polymerase requires? RNA polymerase requires, for PRE, it requires positive regulator proteins for identification. And for promoter PM, it requires repressor protein at OR2. Operator binding site 2. Okay. So these two promoters will be identified only when these proteins are available. C2 and C3 in case of PRE and repressor in case of PM. Unless these proteins are there occupying those positions, the RNA polymerase will not be able to bind to this promoter. Unless CL, repressor protein, binds to a region here OR2, okay, this promoter will not be identified, and this promoter PM will not be identified, and RNA polymerase cannot bind here. Okay, so you can understand there's a lot of intricacies. The two pathways, the lytic pathway and lysogenic pathway, if you remember my original statement, which I made in the first lecture on this particular topic, is that these two pathways are interlocked. So these are the interlocking, you can say, points. What decides a delicate balance between the two small molecular weight proteins? Two small molecular weight proteins decide the survival option. Okay, and factors, if any, influencing the decision are not clearly known. Please remember, if there are factors which will influence this decision making, we really do not have any clear idea on that. Okay, what could be the factors? I have been telling you, factor number one is, conditions, environmental conditions, environmental and nutrient conditions. Okay, logically speaking, if things are comfortable, okay, environmental condition as well as nutrient supply is adequate, comfortable, then logically speaking, you can also understand that bacteriophage should go for lytic pathway, should multiply itself and increase its progeny population. And the second, and if the conditions are not favorable, then obviously, as a student also we can say, logically speaking, that it should go for lysogenic pathway. When the outside conditions are not comfortable, there is not enough nutrients available, environmental conditions are harsh, then it should go for lysogenic pathway, and it can remain in lysogenic pathway for generations together. And the second point is the bacterial genotype, whether it supports integration or not. That will also decide the survival option, whether the bacteriophage will go for lysogenic pathway or the bacteriophage will go for lytic pathway. Okay, so finally it comes to what? Yesterday also, towards the end of my lecture, I told you this, a delicate balance between these two small molecular weight proteins. And what are those two small molecular weight proteins? Let us go through it once again. So one is repressor protein, which is a product of CL gene and it is 26 kilodalton monomer, dumbbell shaped protein, one DNA binding domain, N terminus, C terminus is dimer binding protein, active form is a dimer. Okay, so this protein is important, and the second protein is CRO protein, which is an anti-repressor protein. Anti-repressor protein. It is a product of CRO gene molecular weight 7 kilodalton monomer, and the active form is dimer. The balance between these two proteins will decide whether the bacteriophage will go for lytic pathway or lysogenic pathway. And how did we understand that particular thing? So I told you yesterday, for lysogeny, if this is the seesaw, if repressor protein has an upper hand, compared to CRO, then lysogenic pathway will be followed. And if CRO has an upper hand, then lytic pathway will follow. All right. So you can understand, yesterday also I told you, I'm repeating this thing. So it comes down finally to these two proteins, CRO and repressor. If repressor is having the upper hand, then lysogeny will follow, and if CRO has an upper hand, lytic pathway will follow. All right. So finally, I'm concluding here for this. There are two statements I'm making, so you can also write it down. Survival options arise from subtle interaction of a few proteins and their binding sites. Survival options, they arise from subtle interactions of a few proteins. Few means you have repressor protein, you have anti-repressor protein, you have these positive regulator proteins, right? So a few proteins and their interaction with their respective binding sites. Survival options are dependent on them. And second important point is the economy and elegance of the regulatory mechanism are remarkable. You can say outstanding. So in a small organism like Bacteriophage lambda, how with the help of only a few genes, it can very easily, very efficiently shuttle between these two survival options, lytic pathway and lysogenic pathway. And therefore, the word elegance. So, and the economy, only few genes are there. In spite of that, it can very successfully, follow either of the two pathways. So economy and elegance of the regulatory mechanisms are remarkable and outstanding in case of Bacteriophage lambda. Okay. So if you have understood these now, let us move forward. Let us see what will happen when there is a mutation in CL gene. It is represented as CL minus. What will happen? CL gene, now, is the gene which codes for the repressor protein. And if there is a mutation in this, what is going to happen? So such mutants, they will never be able to follow lysogenic pathway. Right? Those mutants where the CL gene is mutant, there is a mutation, those bacterial cell or those bacteriophage where Cl gene is mutant, okay, it is represented by Cl minus. Such mutants, they will never be able to establish lysogeny. Please remember, because Cl gene product means repressor protein is a must for establishing the lysogeny. All right. And what happens? Suppose when you infect the bacterium, when you infect the bacterium with a bacteriophage, and then streak those bacterial culture on the agar plate, what do you see? You see these kinds of colonies. A typical colony will be like this. I don't know whether you are seeing it or not. I will make it a little bigger. Let's say if this is one colony. So you see this kind of thing. Okay, this is one colony where you have a group of colonies where you have some bacterial colonies visible as dots, and other region is visible as clear region. Okay, means you can say it looks opaque, or you can say milky white. Why it is so? Because statistically speaking, after infection, 50% of the bacterial cell, infected bacteria, the bacteriophage has undergone lytic pathway. And the remaining 50% in bacterial cell, the bacteriophage has undergone lysogenic pathway. So where the bacteriophage has undergone lytic pathway, all those bacterial cells have been lysed, and you see them as clear zones. And wherever it has established lysogeny, those bacterial colonies are visible. These dots are those colonies where these are lysogenic bacterial colonies. They are harboring a phage DNA. Okay, these dots are lysogenic bacterial colonies. 50% of them, will be lysogenic bacterium, and remaining 50% where the bacteriophage has undergone lytic pathway, those bacterial cells, after the progeny particles have been completely synthesized, those bacterial cells will be killed. So you see a clear zone. Okay. Now, same experiment we have repeated, and for infection we have used a bacteriophage where Cl gene is mutant. We have infected the bacterial cell with a bacteriophage where the Cl gene is mutant. So what is going to happen? In this case here, you will see all a clear zone, because none of the bacteria, like here 50% established lysogeny, here 100% of them will follow lytic pathway. None of them will be able to establish lysogeny because the Cl gene is mutant. Right? So this is opaque or milky white. This appearance will be clear zone. Okay, this is called as clear zone या clear plaque भी बोलते हैं इसको, plaque, and therefore the name of that gene clear, Cl. So mutation in Cl gene will result in the formation of clear plaque on the agar plate after infecting the bacterium, because none of the bacterium, like standard, like wild type, where 50% have the capability of establishing lysogeny, here none of them will be able to establish lysogeny, and you will see a clear zone, clear plaque Okay, and therefore the name of the gene clear, the name of the gene CL. All right. Similarly, I hope you understand this, or should I repeat it? So when you infect the bacteria with a wild type bacteriophage and then streak plate it, the next day after 24 hours, you will see these kinds of group of bacterial colonies where you have bacterial colonies surrounded by some clear zones and giving you a opaque milky white appearance on the plate. The reason is, statistically speaking, 50% of them have undergone lytic pathway, means they have perpetuated, made progeny, and killed the bacteria, and therefore you see the clear zone. Whereas in 50% cases, the bacteriophage DNA has integrated itself with the bacterial DNA. The bacterium has become lysogenic bacterium, and you see the growth. But if the bacteriophage lambda has a mutant CL gene, in such a case, after the same experiment, what do you see next morning? You see a clear zone, clear plaque. The reason is none of the bacteria is capable of establishing the lysogeny because the gene is CL is mutant. Okay, all 100% of them will follow the lytic pathway. So there won't be any bacterial colony, everything will be just clear. And therefore the name CL, clear gene. All right. So what is going to happen if there is a mutation in CRO? There is a mutation in CRO gene. So such bacteriophage after infection will never be able to establish, never be able to follow lytic pathway. So it is an extension of what I said earlier, that which survival option to go for depends on the delicate balance between these two proteins, repressor and CRO. If there is a mutation in the gene which codes for repressor, bacteriophage will never be able to establish lysogeny. And if there is a mutation in the gene which codes for anti-repressor protein, that is CRO gene, such bacterial cell will never be able to follow lytic pathway. Will never be able to follow lytic pathway. All right. The third option is, if there is a mutation in operator region, OR or OL, what will happen? What will happen? And the answer to that is, such bacteriophage will never be able to establish lysogeny, because the repressor protein will never be able to bind to this, and as a result of that, these bacteriophages will never be able to establish lysogeny, right? And you understand that operator regions, they are cis-acting, means even if you duplicate it by making it partially diploid for a wild type operator, the original thing cannot be restored because these are cis-acting sites. They function by being recognized by the repressor protein. All right. So you can have these kinds of questions. You can ask yourself these kind of questions and try and answer them based on whatever we have learned. All right. So finally, I made a statement in the beginning in the first lecture that lysogeny confers immunity against infection by the same bacteriophage. So if you have carefully listen to my earlier lecture, you will understand that lysogeny has this advantage. Once a bacteriophage DNA has integrated itself into the bacterial DNA genome, lysogenic bacterium, it has the immunity that the bacteriophage of the same type cannot infect it and cannot undergo lytic pathway in such a bacterial cell. This is important, that it confers, lysogeny confers immunity against infection by the same bacteriophage. The same type of bacteriophage cannot infect and cannot undergo lytic pathway in lysogenic bacterium. I am making it amply clear. So let us understand. Question that comes in mind is how, why, how does it happen? How does that immunity, where does that immunity come from? Okay, so let us understand. Let's say this is the bacterial cell. All right, and let's say this is the bacterial DNA genome, and in the bacterial DNA we have this particular site where phase genome has integrated. Okay, these are site specific combination. So at homologous sites, the bacteriophage lambda DNA and the host DNA, they will integrate and they will, phase DNA is here. There is no yellow line, it's only two blue lines. Okay, so it has undergone, it is now in the lysogeny, means only Cl is getting expressed. And Cl gene product is what? Cl gene product is, you have this dumbbell shape protein. Okay, and they have occupied those operator regions. And I told you that the level is under its self-control, autogenous control, autogenously controlled. The level of this repressor protein is autogenously controlled. All right. So this is what is called as a lysogenic bacterium. This is what is a lysogenic bacterium. Lysogenic bacterium, right? Now, the question is, let's say the second bacteriophage infects. Second bacteriophage infects. And it inserts its DNA into the, this is the second bacteriophage DNA, let's say. Okay. It has infected the lysogenic bacterium, but it will not be allowed to undergo lytic pathway. This lysogenic bacterium cannot be killed. Lysis of this bacterium cannot take place by the infection of the second bacterium. We are trying to understand where does this immunity come from? How does it happen? And I am trying to answer that particular thing. So you have the second, bacteriophage DNA coming over here. So you have the Cl gene here in the center, and you have those operators on both the sides. Okay, so this Cl gene product, this repressor protein, these are diffusible products. Cl gene product, Cl gene is transacting. So these repressor proteins will immediately go and occupy those operator regions here. Because they are already there. They're already there. So as soon as the new bacteriophage DNA comes into the bacterial cell, these repressor proteins will go and occupy those operators, preventing RNA polymerase, host RNA polymerase to come and bind to these promoters and CRO and N. So you have CRO on this side, you have N on this side. Okay, those genes will never be able to get expressed. And as a result of that, this bacteriophage can never undergo lytic pathway here. It cannot be integrated because for integration it requires homologous sites. That homologous site has already been utilized by the first one. So this is how that immunity is conferred by to a lysogenic bacterium, because it maintains the level of repressor protein, and as soon as the new bacteriophage DNA comes, these repressor proteins will go and occupy those operator sites, preventing RNA polymerase from binding to the promoters, and thereby further transcription of genes will be stopped. So this is an elegant mechanism of how that immunity is conferred. CL gene, please remember, CL gene product or CL gene is transacting. It functions by coding for a diffusible product. This is the diffusible product. Diffusible product is, majority of the cases it is protein, in some cases it can be RNA also. Whereas operator is cis-acting. Operator site functions by being recognized. Okay. So this is the mechanism of conferring immunity to the lysogenic bacterium. Sometimes in NetSet also they ask you this type of a question. Okay. So this is all about the bacteriophage lambda, gene regulation in bacteriophage lambda. Thank you very much for attending the lecture.